Hello, I'm Reverend Kenny Callahan, the pastor of Metropolitan Community Church of Richmond. The sacred text for this coming Sunday service is taken from Luke's story, the 5th chapter, verses 1 to 11. And I want you to be forewarned. I absolutely love this story because there's lots and lots of details that bring me amazing joy. I love the idea of Jesus needing a space to speak, so he goes right into Peter's boat and begins to preach. I love that because sometimes God doesn't ask our permission to get involved in our life, to encounter and bless us with grace. God just goes ahead and does it. And I love when Jesus does get around to asking Peter something. I love that Peter just does it. And even though he's been fishing all night and was cleaning his nets, and I'm guessing he probably just wanted to go home and go to bed, instead, he does what Jesus said. We don't know why. What we do know is that Peter just did it. Maybe it's that he knew Jesus and was used to this kind of thing from Jesus. Or maybe he was just that kind of guy, the kind of guy who, even though he was dead tired, does something simply because you asked him to do it. We don't know. What we do know is that he just does it, and I love that. And I love that when he's all done teaching, Jesus isn't actually done. He's really just getting started because God's like that, always up to more than we could ever imagine. And I love that Peter does something that doesn't make sense to him, letting down his nets, the ones that he's just finished cleaning after he's been fishing all night and caught nothing. And I love that pretty much nothing changes in what they're doing. No new nets, no special spot on the lake, no new doing it by a different technique or a new gimmick. Nothing is different from what they've been doing all night, except that when Jesus spoke to them and they do what he says, and that word that Jesus spoke makes all the difference, because God's word always does what it says, even when those who are hearing that word aren't perfect or even have a hard time believing it. And I love the image of the expression on their faces as they struggle bringing in all of those unexpected fish that they caught. And they even had to call their friends to help. They could barely get their nets to shore. Wonder and delight, maybe even a touch of awe. These are usually the things that happen when we have a profound encounter with God, when we realize that God has done something in our lives that we could not do for ourselves. And I just love the idea that however much Peter thinks he knows Jesus, he only now realizes that he really doesn't know him, that he's only just beginning to realize who and what Jesus is. And that kind of scares him a little. And I love that Jesus says to him, do not be afraid. Jesus comes to us so that we don't have to be afraid anymore. And I really, really, really love that. Thanks be to God.